Hey, good day, ladies and gents. Thank you again for joining me on this stream. And again, even if you give me a minute of your time, I really appreciate it. If you would at least hit the like button, it will really help my channel a little bit. But again, if you're watching live or if you're going to catch the replay, leave your comments. I would really like to know your opinions on anything I spoke about. So today we're going to be discussing the light heavyweight super middleweight situation. I know I did a video before on the light heavyweight, no, not the light heavyweight, the super middleweight division, and just how much the super middleweights are not doing a whole lot. Especially I look more closely at the matchroom guys because they seem to be the ones who are holding themselves back, waiting for a Canelo fight. And I don't understand why grown men, all of who have belts and have the possibility of making themselves into stars, are waiting for another man to give them the lotto ticket. While I do get the need for money, my thing is, why not just try and make your own way? But that's the way of the world now. Everybody wants that big lotto ticket even when they don't deserve it. But whatever. Sorry. So first up on deck, what up, Lisa Bales? Lisa Bales, you always come through and show me support, man. I appreciate that. Thank you very much, sister. Peace and power to you. The first thing we're going to talk about is the situation. Ring IQ Boxing on YouTube. Check his page out. Really good page. Check his Twitter out. Very, very, very good also. And, he made it known about Zurdo Ramirez. Now, I know Zurdo Ramirez and Eddie Hearn had a meeting, or at the very least were at the Miami fights. The one with, what's up, Tommy Temper? How you doing, man? Zurdo Ramirez was at the Miami fights with Eddie Hearn. And we all know Zurdo was supposed to, there was an early talk about him and Callum Smith unifying at 168. Then Ramirez moved up, and then he kind of didn't move up. And then he did vacate the belt. And then Billy Joe Saunders won the 168 belt from Chef Ati Sufi or whoever. And now Zurdo Ramirez is now back, seemingly ready to fight. There's been rumors that he wants to buy out his Top Rank contract. I'm not sure how that's going to work out, but there's rumors that he wants to buy it out. No, the problem with Zurdo is that I'm not sure how valuable Zurdo Ramirez is to Top Rank, because even at middleweight, he didn't do nothing. He really didn't do anything at all at Top Rank. He fought kind of sparsely, and he really, I think Top Rank should just let the man go, because he didn't make you any money, and you didn't make him any money. So just let him go, if anything. But that's not how business works. But anyway, so he was at the Miami fights with Eddie Hearn, and it was surprising to me to see a picture from Steve Kim. But then today I saw Ring IQ Boxing say Zurdo wanted a bunch of money. 1 second, please. My bad, people. Sorry about that. What up, Shizbiz? But anyway, as I was saying, so he was at the Miami fights, and I saw Steve Kim post a picture. Steve Kim on Twitter. He posted a picture of it, of him and Eddie Hearn hanging out, whatever. So I was like, oh, this is interesting. We know Bivol was looking for a fight. We know all of that. Bivol wanted somebody to fight. Even, Eddie Hearn was reaching out to Battle Jack to fight Bivol for the WBA belt, which would have been an all right fight, but I highly doubt Battle Jack was going to fight Bivol. Battle Jack is a TMT, PBC guy, and these guys can't just do what they want to do. And anyway, so I saw, Ring IQ post that Zurdo apparently priced himself out of the Bivol unification. And how did he get into bivol unification? I'll explain. Well, when he moved up from 168, he became the mandatory to the 168 at light heavyweight. He became the mandatory. At that time, it was the champion was Kovalev. Kovalev lost to Canelo. Canelo vacates the belt. So he's a mandatory to nothing. So the WBO orders a sort of a impromptu tournament that featured Zurdo Ramirez, I think Elida Alvarez, Maslov, some guy called Maslov, and somebody else. Let me pull up the WBO rankings so we can see what we're talking about here. Just give me a second, people. Here we go. So here we go. So the number one rank was Ramirez, which is Zurdo, Salamov, Maslov, and Alvarez. So the WBO notifies these people and tells them they need to do a tournament to determine who's going to be the champion. You know, winners fight each other and call it that. So apparently they scheduled Salamov and Maslov to fight. They actually officially sent apparently notices to them. They notified Salamov and Maslov that they were supposed to fight, and Elida Alvarez was supposed to fight Zurdo Ramirez in their fight, in their semifinal, and then the winners fight each other for the belt. Well, apparently Zurdo didn't want that, and he wanted no parts of, I don't know if he didn't want to be in the WBO rankings anymore, or he just didn't want no parts of Elida Alvarez. So, okay, he dips out. He's now around Eddie Hearn, and Eddie Hearn is trying to talk to him about having a match with Dimitri Bivol, which I thought would have been a good match. I think Bivol would have schooled Zurdo, but it would have been a good match either way. And apparently Zurdo Ramirez, he wants a lot of money. So I want to shout out again Ring IQ. I saw this on his Twitter. So go check out his Twitter page. So it's actually from Steve Kim, but he shared it. So let me show y'all what Steve Kim said about the meeting with Eddie Hearn. There you go. Heard something interesting last week in Miami. Gilberto Ramirez met with Eddie Hearn. A fight with Dimitri Bivol was discussed. Word is that his asking price for that fight was exorbitant, and those talks went to Bolivian real fast. There you go. So apparently Zurdo Ramirez is asking for a shitload of money. Big money. We don't know if it's true or not, but Steve Kim has his little sources, and that's what the situation is. So I'm not sure how much Zurdo Ramirez asked for. I'm really not sure. But Ramirez can't possibly be trying to run his price up when he hasn't done anything. He hasn't done anything at super middleweight, and he's not a champion at light heavyweight. So I'm not quite sure why he's asking for big money if that's true. No, he cannot. I don't know if he can make, but I don't know. He already left super middleweight. He used to be this super middleweight champion, Shizbiz, and he left. He left the division, moved up to light heavyweight, and that's how Billy Joe Saunders got the vacant 168 belt from fighting Shefat Isufi. So apparently he's a light heavyweight, but he removed himself from the light heavyweight tournament that the WBO wanted to implement. I guess he didn't want to fight Elida Alvarez. I'm not sure what the issue was. Maybe he thought Eddie Hearn could make him a better offer to fight Dimitri Bivol for the WBA, but I'm not quite sure why Gilberto Ramirez has priced himself out like that, if that is in fact true. The thing is, nobody's going to really ask because people don't really care about Gilberto Ramirez that much. He's not going to move no tickets. He's not a big name. He's a Mexican fighter, yes, but he's not going to move no tickets. So I'm not quite sure you know, if he should be asking for big money or not. He's not a champion at light heavyweight. So it's not even a unification. So I'm not quite sure what his issue is, right? Even if he could make super middleweight, who's he gonna fight? You know? Cerdan Bivol hasn't really been doing anything lately. I mean, that's true, right? Bivol is kind of chilling, waiting for something to happen to him. I know Eddie Hearn wanted him to fight Battle Jack, but the problem is the contenders at the WBA, in the WBA, Bivol has beaten them already. He's already beaten Pascal. You know, I think. Hold on, 1 second. So here's Bivol. Here's his box rec, and as you can see, the last three guys he's fought, Castillo, Joe Smith, and Jean Pascal, especially Joe Smith and Jean Pascal. These two are ranked highly in the WBO and in the WBA. Jean Pascal is the new WBA regular after beating Marcus Brown. And I think Marcus Brown was supposed to fight Dimitri Bivol. Of course, the typical PBC nonsense, tried to overstretch it, got him beat by Jean Pascal. You know, now it's a problem. No, it's a problem for Dimitri Bivol because he's beaten these people. So who's he gonna fight, right? Let's see who's in the WBA rankings for him to fight. Let's see who's there. Goddamn, WBA and these goddamn belts. Anyway, as you can see, Jean Pascal is right under him as the regular champion or whatever. But he's already beaten Jean Pascal. After that, is Eddie Hearn going to give Dimitri Bivol Joshua Boazzi? I don't think so. I don't know who this Bozo person is. I've never seen this person fight. I'm not saying he's a bad fighter. I have no idea who this person is, but maybe that's a fight to make. But again, I guess for what you're paying Bivol, you know, you have to make him big fights. And these are not, there's no big fights left in the WBA rankings for Dimitri Bivol. He's beaten Pascal. You know, Battle Jack is not going to fight him because he is engaged with PBC and the money team. I don't think Eddie Hearn is going to make Boazzi fight him because I think Boazzi is also ranked very highly in the IBF, I think. So we're going to have an issue here with Dimitri Bivol soon. So maybe that's why Ramirez wanted that big money, because he knows Bivol doesn't really have a lot going for him. Right? So maybe that's why. So if there's no Zerdo fight, does Bivol sit tight until the beterbiev unification? What does he do? You know, Bivol's in a rough spot. The WBA doesn't have nobody for him to fight. And should he wait, or should he have like a takeover fight? Should he have like a takeover fight until he unifies with beterbiev? What should he do? But Zerdo Ramirez, I'm not sure what this dude is going to do, because he didn't do anything at super middleweight, and it's looking like he's not going to do nothing in light heavyweight, because he doesn't want to fight in the WBO tournament for the belt, and he's now pricing himself out of the fight with Dimitri Bivol. None of that makes no sense. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I heard so too. But let me ask you something. should Dimitri Bivol, since he has nobody to fight in the WBA because he's beaten Joe Smith, he's beaten Jean Pascal, should he just wait until the beterbiev unification? Would somebody like Dimitri Bivol want to wait on that, or would he want to stay active, stay busy doing something? I'm not sure what he's going to do, right? I think Bivol and someone like Callum Smith is in the same position because we're not really Callum Smith, and I'll get to Callum Smith shortly. But that's my thoughts on the whole Zurdo Ramirez. Shout out to Ring IQ Boxing. Go to his YouTube page. Subscribe. Very, very good page. Very good Twitter. Very knowledgeable guy. So go ahead, check him out. And check out Steve Kim's Twitter. That's where the information came from with Zurdo Ramirez and his big asking price for a Dimitri Bivol fight. So we move on to a fight that I actually heard Eddie Hearn speak of in an interview with IFL TV. And IFL TV with Billy Joe Saunders last weekend, actually, on the weekend, actually, at the Keller Book fight. Get the smoke, what up? Bivol may have moved. Exactly, he might have to move to 168, but again, at 168, who's he gonna fight? I understand that the big fight will probably be Callum Smith. It'll probably be Callum Smith. But Callum Smith, like all these other weirdos, are holding out for the Canelo sweepstakes, and he's waiting and hoping that Canelo winks and gives him the goddamn Charlie in the Chocolate Factory golden ticket. Yeah, what up, Smoke? So let me just play what Eddie Hearn said about the whole situation with Billy Joe Saunders, Callum Smith, and et cetera, because it's going to set up a few of my talking points after. I'm not going to be long today at all, as usual. I don't do long streams. So I'm going to play the video, let y'all hear what he had to say, him and Billy Joe Saunders, and we'll go from there. Sorry. My bad. Here's Eddie Hearn and Billy Joe Saunders.
You know, we've got plans, 3 or 4 plans beyond that. If we don't get Canelo, because right now, I'm treating it like we're not getting Canelo. Because if you have that mentality, you have a plan in place. If we do, brilliant. That is a real bonus. And that's the biggest fight out there for him. That's the fight I would like him to get. But if not, there's Callum Smith, there's Danny Jacobs, there's particularly Demetrius Andrade, which is a fight can be made, like, that's almost ready to go. He's willing to move up to super middle. We've talked about it before. It's a big fight in America. It can fight over here. So, you know, you can't just sit and wait. And we're not doing that because that's when he wants to fight. So
somebody said an interesting thing to me yesterday.
So that was the situation with Eddie Hearn and them. Eddie Hearn actually mentioned, what's up, 1-2 kid? Peace. So there you go. Pretty much, again, you know, these guys are waiting around for the Canelo fights, and I'm not sure what they're gonna do. Billy Joe Saunders is, again, I guess he's up for the Callum Smith unification. Eddie Hearn also said there's also the Jacobs fight for Callum Smith. So as he said, he's making some moves. If Canelo doesn't pick either Callum Smith or Billy Joe Saunders, Eddie Hearn is saying there's fights available for both of them, even if they don't unify. Right? So if Canelo picks Billy Joe Saunders to fight, Eddie Hearn is saying I can get Danny Jacobs and Callum Smith to fight. That's a decent fight, right? That's a decent fight. Although Danny Jacobs is not really a 168 guy fully yet. And Callum Smith is really a light heavyweight sucking himself down into 160. He's really got to stop that shit. He got to leave his division. But I think he's trying to sell his belt before he leaves. But anyway, if Callum Smith fights Danny Jacobs, I think that's a decent fight. I'm not sure who I'll pick. I think Danny Jacobs has more technical skill than him. But let's see. You know what I mean, I still think the best situation would be, but we've seen Canelo and apparently Murata, that fight has fallen through. That's not going to happen again. So more than likely, Canelo is going to pick Billy Joe Saunders or Callum Smith. Billy Joe is speculating that they'll probably pick Callum Smith because maybe he's cheaper, because Billy Joe might want more. I don't know. Billy Joe fancies himself a big time guy. Billy Joe thinks he's the shit. So he's saying if they pick Callum Smith, it's because they want the cheaper route, and they'll probably put a 10-pound weight limit on Callum Smith. Yeah, I know how Canelo does it. So Callum Smith can't blow back up to a cruiserweight come fight time, right? That's a great fight to me too, one ticket. I'm telling you, Smith versus Jacobs. So who do y'all think is a better fight? Because in that video, you heard Eddie Hearn talk about the possibility of the Andrade versus Billy Joe Saunders fight. I've already said Billy Joe Saunders is not going to fight Demetrius Andrade. He's not going to fight him. Billy Joe Saunders is a con man. I think he's a guy who just likes to run his mouth. In that video, if you go to the video and watch the video, he's already talking about how Andrade has fought a lot of bums, which is weird because Andrade and him share an opponent in Akavov. It's a common opponent, and Andrade made that guy look amateurish. Well, that same guy made Billy Joe work like a fucking donkey, right? So Billy Joe Saunders is a guy who doesn't have a grasp of reality, or he's just really dishonest. You understand? I think a fight between him and Andrade is easy to make. As you heard Eddie Hearn say, that fight's packaged and ready to go. Just need to pull the trigger. Andrade said, you don't have to come to 160, I'll come to 168 and I'll fight you there. But Billy Joe Saunders on Twitter already was talking about how let's talk the numbers or whatever, because he fancies himself the A side. He fancies himself whatever. And I guess if Andrade moves to 168, Billy Joe Saunders will be the A side because he's the champion. But Billy Joe Saunders is the type of person who will want like an 80-20 split, because he really thinks he's a superstar. If you watch this video, you will hear Billy Joe Saunders make comments like, Billy Joe Saunders thinks he's a cat's meow when he's really the kitty leader. No doubt, this dude really, really thinks he is an all-time great when he really hasn't fought anybody. He's talking about Andrade has fought a lot of bums. But Billy Joe Saunders hasn't fought anybody. He touts the one big win that he's had, the David Lemieux fight, in his whole career. This is a guy who had a WBO belt holding hostage for years with Frank Warren, right? And talking shit. Came to America, was supposed to fight Demetrius Andrade, failed the PED test, and has the nerve to be talking shit. I want to see him and Andrade fight, but Billy Joe Saunders knows Andrade, I think, would beat him. I think Andrade is much more aggressive, and he also has a lot of technical skill. He has enough technical skill because Billy Joe Saunders fights guys who don't have the technical skill like him. I think Andrade has just as much technical skill as Billy Joe Saunders, and he's aggressive. He can get really aggressive. So what do y'all think? Billy Joe Saunders, Andrade at 168. What do y'all think about that? I think it's a damn good fight, but I don't think Billy Joe Saunders will fight Demetrius Andrade. I really don't think so. I don't think so. I actually would prefer to see the Billy Joe Saunders versus Andrade fight more than the Billy Joe Saunders versus the Callum Smith fight, just because of the build-up. There's a lot going on in that fight. Billy Joe Saunders pissed hot. Andrade don't like him. It's just a lot happening in that fight. A lot happening. So I wouldn't mind seeing that fight for real, to be honest with you. What else is up on my list here? Of course, the Bivol versus Beterbiev fight. Man, I can't tell you what were the purses between. I have no idea what the purses were. I don't know. I don't know if they were ever released. Whatever released, I don't know. 50-50. I like it better at 160. Yeah, of course. But does Billy Joe Saunders want to put in the effort? And does he need the auxiliary to make him make 160? Because this dude don't seem like he's about going to 160 at all. He was an undisciplined dude before, and when he failed a drug test, he just said he's going to go to 168 and that's it. He never looked back to 160. So does he need the auxiliary to make 160? And if he can't take the auxiliary, what's going to happen to Billy Joe Saunders? Is he going to be disciplined enough to make the weight or what? Because we've seen this man be undisciplined. You know what I'm saying? Billy Joe on his game can beat most fighters. Yeah. Damn good fighter. I'm not here to tell you no. I'm not here to tell you no. I got Andre by split decision, Snorf. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I think Andre would take him. I think so. I don't think Billy Joe Saunders knows exactly who Demetrius Andrade is. He talks a gang of shit about him. But the thing is, when Billy Joe speaks about Demetrius Andrade, you can say the same exact things about him. None of them have really fought nobody. And it's not for lack of trying an Andrade spot. You've seen people openly duck Demetrius Andrade. You've seen Charlo openly duck Demetrius Andrade. Billy Joe Saunders openly ducked Andrade himself. Canelo and Triple G, in my opinion, don't want nothing to do with that man because he might give him more trouble than it's worth. And it's not worth a lot because he's not a big name, but it's worth a belt. And we know Triple G is kind of just being kept warm on the burner, waiting for the Canelo fight. I'm not sure how long the zone or whoever is going to keep. Well, it's not like they can't keep it because they've already signed into a contract, but I'm not sure what Triple G does for the zone. He looked bad in his last fight. He's not going to fight Andrade. Canelo doesn't seem interested in fighting him right now. And Canelo doesn't seem like he want to give him the fight at all. But yeah, so the WBO tournament, since Zerda has pulled out, they'll probably put Joe Smith Jr. there. Another guy who Bivol already beat. This is the issue with Bivol. Bivol has fought a few people and already beaten them. There's not a lot of people at light heavyweight that's going to sell any tickets in America. And Bivol is in a bad situation because he's already beaten Joe Smith. He's beaten Pascal, who beat down Marcus Brown. And this is why the PBC is bad. Marcus Brown was supposed to fight Dimitri Bivol. And they put him in a fight with Jean Pascal for some reason. Should have let the man fight Dimitri Bivol. Let him fight for the actual belt, not fight Pascal. Got beat up by Pascal. Now he's at home chilling, doing nothing. I don't know what they're going to do. Yes, sir, they do. They do. But this is why this 168 division is so terrible. And you got Benavidez and Caleb Plant over there. What is happening with Caleb Plant and Benavidez? The last time I saw Benavidez fight with Durrell. What's his next fight? Does anybody know what's David Benavidez' next fight? I know Caleb Plant has his mandatory, which I haven't heard anyone talk about. So I'm not, this whole division, the whole 168 division is just terrible. Triple G is over snack now. I wonder if you look, maybe. Yeah, maybe he'll get them magic snacks, eh? But anyway, man, I'm going to end it off in talking about the Bivol versus Beterbiev fight. I think this is going to be a classic fight. Two of the best fighters, not in just their division, but two of the best fighters in the entire sport of boxing. We've seen Beterbiev go down against Callum, I think it's Callum Johnson before in Chicago when they fought. He came back and beat him. He's unified the division, and he wants his third belt. Right? Can't stand marination. And that's why Marcus Brown got beat. And it's nonsense. But anyway, what do y'all think? Bivol versus beterbiev. This, as I said, this is going to be one of the best matches we've seen for a long time. I like the fact that these Russian and Eastern European guys are not about this marination shit. They're just saying, yo, let's go. I think I'm better than you. Let's go. I'm not worried about no marination. I want to fight now. Right now. And I like the fact that Top Rank is not standing in front of unifications. They're not standing in front of that. They're trying to make the fights happen. I like that the zone, Matchroom said, no problem. We'll make whatever fights necessary to get this, to push this sport forward. Which is why it's crazy to me why people have this idea that somehow Matchroom and these people are ducking. Matchroom has shown, and Top Rank has shown, that they're willing to fight. They're willing to put their fighters up to fight. Top Rank sent Jose Ramirez to the zone to fight. He sent him to the zone to fight. He got the belt, went back to Top Rank, right? Went back to Top Rank, right? We've seen Regis Prograis and Josh Taylor. Josh Taylor, his name is Josh Taylor fight, even though none of those people are in fact Matchroom fighters. But I think, you know, they fought on Sky and the Zone, great fight. So this is why I wonder, how is it possible that people that they're just certain fighters, one side simply does not want to give up to unify. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Spence and Wilder. I get that Spence is already unified. He's A side. There's no 50-50 talk. But the fight people want to see is Spence versus Crawford. It's ridiculous. It's nonsense. But anyway, Bivol versus beterbiev is going to be a classic. It's a wonderful fight. Shout outs to Top Rank and Matchroom for once again working together to make a big fight, a great fight. Only thing better than this would be to see Devin Haney fight Teofimo Lopez. If Teofimo beats Lomachenko. If two young guys, you know, both can talk, both got little flair, that would be crazy, right? But I think the Bivol versus beterbiev fight will be the best fight for the year. That includes Wilder Fury 2. That includes any fight Anthony Joshua is going to be in with, even with Usyk or Pulev. Whatever. I think that's the fight for the year because it's two highly skilled guys, you know, who are not marinating and trying to season the meat for too long. Let's just fight. I respect that. That's the essence of combat sports, in particular boxing. There shouldn't be multiple champs. There should be one champ. Anyway, that's it from me, man. You know, I don't do long streams. I want to thank y'all for coming on and keeping me company on my break time. Y'all have a nice day. Take care of yourselves. Peace and power.